It is a great day to be alive, and I am so thankful for God, Jesus Christ, who lives in us. Today's video is titled Luna Rise and Bitcoin's 80% Crash Update, Japan. Before we get started, I'm not a financial advisor. Nothing that I'm sharing is financial advice. I'm simply sharing dreams, visions, and interpretations that I feel God's given me as it relates to crypto. Now let's get into the video. So I want to start where I left off in this video titled New Dream, the continuation of Bitcoin's 80% crash. And here's the video where I share these updates on different events and dreams pertaining to this continuation of Bitcoin's crash. I use the word continuation because at various times in the past, God has shown me different things pointing my understanding in the direction that Bitcoin is about to continue moving down to much lower levels. These indicators I shared in that video. So those things are what I'm going to be referring to as market crash indicators. I also shared in that video that I believe that the timing of Luna rise will cross paths with this market crash. And however God is going to do it, Luna will rise to move in the opposite direction of this crash at some point. I stated that all of these market crash indicators began again for me on May 28th this year, 2026. I began to see these crash indicators one after the other, and they were the same ones that God revealed to me on last year. Last year I had a dream, and this year I had a dream about Bitcoin dropping significantly. I shared the dream titled BTC $10,000 drop in 5 minutes. I saw Bitcoin move down from 71,000 all the way down to 61,000. And so I think 61,000 is a key price. There's something about this 61,000 that is going to either indicate that Bitcoin is going to move farther down, maybe to the next $10,000 drop to 51. Or we're going to be here for a little while until God begins to give more indicators that it's getting ready to move again, even lower. I also shared in that video that I was seeing on the same day that I had this Bitcoin $10,000 drop dream. On May 28th, I saw a 7-Up sign. 7-Up last year was connected to the bears. I had a bear dream, and in that dream, I saw some 7-Up. And of course, bears are always connected to market crash. And for me, 7-Up is as well. And then I saw articles about bear attacks coming out of Japan, just as I did last year. And speaking of Japan, I also shared how Japan is connected to this market crash. And then I explained how my Luna dreams tend to come post Japan news, placing them, again, Japan representing the market crash. And I explained how. But again, placing Luna and Japan news on the same timeline. Again, there's something about Japan that I'm going to get into or hit on just a little bit in this video that has to do with Japan's economy and the financial system and things that are going on over there. But for more details on how I explain the connection between the two, please check out that previous video. And now getting into very quickly how Japan is connected to this market crash. It has to do with carry trade. In 2024, August the 6th to be exact, there was a market crash because of a carry trade that happened in Japan. I had my Luna dream the day before this happened. August 6th was a derived date having to do with the market crash timeline that I shared back then. Again, this was 2024. And last year, there were things happening again centered around this idea of could another carry trade take place? And that was one, Japan got a new prime minister, the first female prime minister. So that was historic. During this time, there was a lot of talk about stimulus. There was talks about this 0.75% rate hike by the BOJ. And all of this began to stir fear about, is it possible that another carry trade would take place? And for this reason, I began to follow this news and wonder if there would be a repeat of 2024 again, since my Luna dream came before this happened. Now, since 2024 on up through the end of 2025, God began to put things together, help me to piece things together where I was able to see that, yes, this Luna timeline, the Luna rise timeline is going to cross paths with the market crash timeline. Focus on BTC, and 80% crash is coming. And right now, I think we have surpassed 50% out of 80%. So here we have Bitcoin crash on one side, Luna rise on the other side. We're looking at these indicators, things that are going to indicate that the continuation of this 80% crash is about to happen. Bitcoin crash dreams, if I have one of those, that's an indicator. Bear attacks coming out of Japan specifically. But bear attacks, anything to do with a bear, weird bear news, 7-Up, and then news out of Japan pertaining to their economy. And because we're talking about Japan, because we're talking about Luna, because we're talking about this crash, this is going to take us back to the B&B Tiger and Luna combo chart. If you've been following the B&B Tiger series, you already know how Luna ties in with this. Everything that you see on this chart was built and added as we went through this B&B Tiger dream, seeing many of those things in the dream unfold as we went along. Again, this chart is about combo events having to do with B&B Tiger and Luna. Each person and event on this chart has a tie to B&B Tiger and Luna in some way. Again, an entire series on all of that to explain. Not the time for in this video. But the Bitcoin crash has always been on this chart. Japan's prime minister has been on this chart. And I'll say again, as I've said before, we can't have a Luna rise and a B&B Tiger breakout without seeing this market crash take place. This market crash is a very important part of this wealth transfer that God has promised. Why? Because of low buy limit orders. So again, Luna rise timeline, crossing path with the market crash timeline. If you have not seen that video, please check it out. If you want to go back and get a full understanding of how God showed me how these two timelines would cross. Some other things to keep in mind as we get into the rest of this video is that with Luna, we're looking at B&B Tiger when it comes down to the B&B Tiger dream, and how, again, the two of them are combined together. And I believe that when one begins to run, the other one will run as well. As far as Bitcoin and the crash, those things that are associated with that is 7up, the bears in Japan, those attacks, and news about Japan's economy that is centered around the idea of this carry trade. Since making that video, I want to get into what is new. What's new? LUNC rise and BTC 80% market crash, events and confirmations. So, some of you may remember me talking about my student and his mom. Two dreams that I had last year. One of those dreams had to do with a housing market crash, and the other had to do with an elevator and an escalator. Two things to point out: the birthdays of my student and his mom. His mom's birthday is April 13th. His birthday is September the 15th. Last year around April the 13th, there was a lot of talk about the housing market. And then September the 15th is important because it has to do with an historical event that took place in 2008. Now, last year, my dream about the elevator and escalator, in this dream, I basically saw my student and his mom. And at some point in that dream, I was going down an elevator and I was going down an escalator. And because these two individuals are connected to a market crash, I was on an elevator and escalator going down. I connected the two with an understanding that this is representing the downward movement of the market. Now, getting back to my student's birthday, September the 15th, Lehman Brothers. You guys may remember last year me talking a lot about the Lehman Brothers. You'll see it here in this video thumbnail and this one as well. But why is September 15th important? Well, Monday, September 15th, 2008, it marked the official collapse of the fourth largest investment bank in the United States. This company, the Lehman Brothers, filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy. And because of this financial crisis, the markets collapsed. Again, September 15th is my student's birthday. Well, this year, I had another dream about my student and his mom. Again, seeing them in a dream is basically an indicator that God showed me last year that the continuation of this 80% BTC crash is about to begin. So the only thing to this dream is that I saw them. Waking up from this dream, I began to go to Facebook and kind of see his mom and I are friends on Facebook. And so I see that, oh my gosh, he's in high school. He's playing sports. He's always been into sports, playing baseball, and his team colors, his school colors are yellow and black. Using these two colors, yellow and black, on June 13th, God was getting ready to show me once again how that the Luna rise and the BTC 80% crash will indeed cross paths. And this was how he was going to display that confirmation to me once again, using these two colors, yellow and black. Keeping in mind that yellow and black represents the bumblebee. The bumblebee represents or is an indicator for Luna. My student is an indicator for the market crash, and he's wearing yellow and black. He's wearing a Luna indicator because the bumblebee is yellow and black. And he himself is an indicator of the market crash. Two things crossing at the same time. Again, this is what God showed me that morning. And after I began to look at the colors of the bumblebee, yellow and black, I got a notification on my phone, a Facebook notification, someone's birthday. And this person's profile picture had a Georgia Tech bumblebee on it yellow and black. A college, another school color that is yellow and black. This happened like moments apart, definitely within the same hour. And I saw this, and this came as confirmation. The colors, yellow and black, school colors. Yes, I am definitely showing you confirmation that these two things are crossing paths. Now, my husband sent me a few days prior to all of this stream by my student a picture of an event that was happening at his job. Thinking outside the hive. All these fun facts about bees. I thought, okay, God, this is another form of confirmation when it comes down to Luna. We're getting close. And here are those two videos. If you want to watch the video that has specifically to do with the crossing paths, Luna timeline, and the market crash, this is that video with Doquan. And then the last video, previous video that talks about this May 28th date when all this started this year, and kind of giving a backstory. That is that video to watch. Again, it's titled New Dream, the continuation of BTC 80% crash. Now, more new news for this year when it comes down to Japan. Could this rate hike trigger a carry trade? Probably not. But the fact that this was about a rate hike picking up where we left off last year, wondering, could a carry trade take place because of these rate hikes, because of the stimulus package? So on June 16th, just 3 days after having the dream about my student and his mom, the Bank of Japan raised its short-term policy rates to 1%. This would mark a 31-year high. So they moved it up 0.25% from the 0.75% last year. So this is basically piggybacking off of what was taking place last year. And all this is because they're trying to curb inflation that is driven by global energy shock and currency weakness. And so again, that happened on the 16th of June. I shared earlier in this video that my student and his mom, the first dream had to do with a housing market crash. This is coming right after I had the dream about my student and his mom this year. They both represent something to do with a crash, a housing market crash, his mom, and for him, it is the market crash. And this article is dated for the 23rd of June, 10 days after having that dream about my student and his mom, talking about bubble trouble. U.S. house sales just hit the lowest level since the great financial crisis. Another article from today says Trump abruptly cancels plan to sign bipartisan bill aimed at lowering cost of housing. So I don't think that that's coincidence that this news came out after having that dream about my student and his mom. More news, and someone sent me this in an email. I saw the title. I had already started working on this and was going to add this anyway, talking about the 2 million bees escape after truck carrying hive overturned in Texas. Thank you for sharing that. I think you're the only person that sent me this. So thank you for sending me this email. But again, beehives is another indicator of Luna rise. And this article says that they're advising people to please remain indoors. The last time we seen something like this, it was when Israel was, as they say, plagued by a swarm of bumblebees that came through one of the cities there in Israel. It caused a lot of trouble. I want to say it was mid-April. And you guys probably remember me talking about that and different ones covering that as this whole bee theme with Luna was kind of going on. A lot of that was going on. And so here again, this is just another form of confirmation. And then the last thing came last night. We were getting ready to go to bed. And as you can see, he was yesterday at 10:18 p.m. And my husband got a notification from the base saying that to shelter in place for all Air Force Base personnel. All members on the Air Force Base are advised to shelter in place at this time due to a real world bear sighting on installation. What we doing with bears at the base? More confirmation that bear market 80% crash. And then today we saw Bitcoin actually drop under 61,000. And so again, is the 61,000 a stopping point for now? Under 61,000, 61,000 or under, or just under 61,000, or at 61,000 a marker that we're getting ready to go down lower, another 10,000, like in that dream, it dropped from 71,000 to 61,000. Is this a stopping point for now? Taking a break, taking a pause, or will this continue down to 51,000, another $10,000 drop? That's just my thinking on that. But we shall see. Again, low buy orders We have to be prepared and ready for these things. This is why God gives us this stuff. I've been yapping about this for a long time. We're seeing it slowly, gradually taking place. And each time God gives me these indicators and I see it, I will definitely try to get on here and share. Not to make anybody feel bad because the market is crashing, but to look at this in the way that God wants us to see it. This is an opportunity, a once in a lifetime opportunity to take advantage of. Again, setting those low buy limit orders during this time, because this crash is a part of God's plan. Well, that is all that I have for this video. Until the next one, God bless.